It is Tuesday, June 12th, 2012. Thanks for tuning into the 404 show on CNET TV. I'm Jeff Bacalar.
And I am Justin Yu.
And this is the show where we're broadcasting in Retina display.
Yeah.
You wrote Retina D.
Retina D just sounds better.
It does.
Ret D. What does Retina display mean? I think if you polled 200 people, maybe one or two would actually give you a proper definition of how Retina displays better.
Well, it doesn't really mean anything. It's an invented phrase by Apple.
Yeah, we were talking about this the other day over at Russ Frushtick's house.
Sure.
About how like new processors and all the marketing jargon that goes along with technology.
Right.
You know?
They're just selling a word.
They're selling like a word they made up.
Right. Obviously, we're alluding to the announcement made yesterday at Apple's WWDC conference, Worldwide Developers Conference, out in California, talking about the new MacBook Pros,
right?
Which all the 1%ers are jumping on. No, I'm joking. It's a lot of freaking money. Let's cut right down to it.
Yeah.
$2,200 for the entry-level MacBook Pro. It's got a Retina display, which means it's got a badass resolution on the screen
that no one really needed.
Now, I feel like Retina display makes sense for the iPad.
Right.
Do you think it makes sense for a laptop?
I think if you look at like what this MacBook is supposed to be for the demographic, right? It's supposed to be for like hardcore video editors, and you talk about the minimum price, but the max is $3,750. That's the best model you can get with like that 2.7 quad core Ivy Bridge processor,
which is
I just
crazy.
don't think that most people need that much power in a laptop, right? Like,
they don't.
people don't need solid state drives unless you're constantly turning on and off your computer.
Yeah.
I don't also think you need a quad core processor unless you're doing a lot of video editing, which I think you're hoping you had right now.
Yeah,
you're on a new laptop.
I have a new-ish laptop. It's about a year old, and I'm already done with it. But what I don't understand is why there's no in-betweeny. You know what I mean?
Oh, why there are like only two models?
Like, why couldn't they have made a MacBook without the Retina, maybe dial back, maybe give it like a dual-core i7,
right? And
sort of, keep it maybe at a price range where it's like, my God, this price is too good to be true. They still, and I guess people are learning this the hard way, they still are a luxury company.
Right.
They still are like this, can you afford us company? And I don't like that. I was bummed out with that. I wanted to see like, a $1,200 Ultrabook sort of thing.
Right.
And that's not what we got.
Well, they did release some of the new MacBook Airs though.
Right.
Is that not what you were looking for?
I don't know anymore.
Yeah, there's too many. It's like too many choices. I think.
I don't know if it's too many choices, but it's such a great machine. You really have to hand it to them, and it's only like 4.5 pounds.
Right.
This new MacBook Pro with this Retina display, it really is an impressive machine.
Yeah.
I mean, say what you will about the price and how no one can afford it and it's overpriced and all this nonsense. It really, truly is an impressive machine.
I think if nothing else, though, if you don't need this much power, you can save a lot of money by taking advantage of some of the price cuts on the older model MacBook Pros.
Yeah.
Like not only are those getting deals now on the Apple website, you can also get a refurbished MacBook Pro for, I think, under $1,200 now.
And what's weird, they really, like you said, they did come out with new Airs also. And they didn't even talk about that. They came out with new Mac Pros also. They didn't even talk about it.
Right.
Which I thought is interesting. But yeah, there's new MacBook Airs. They're a lot of money too. And then when you look at the specs with the Air and the new Pro now, it's tough. There's a big divide there.
Right.
So, did you see anything? Was there anything else announced yesterday that you were really excited about?
Yes, definitely. I wanted to talk about all the new iOS 6 features.
Okay.
Namely the maps. Did you see that part of the keynote address?
I did, yeah.
So iOS 6 will include a new 3D mapping function, and that's kind of been a long time coming since they departed from Google Maps.
Right.
A lot of people are kind of complaining, though, that the new flyover feature, which does look cool, that like kind of lets you give like a helicopter view to the city or whatever, and they flew around the Transamerica building and whatnot. People are complaining that it's not really good for city dwellers because it lacks some of the the public transportation directions, and even the walking directions that Google Maps provided.
Right. Well, you had to imagine once they abandon Google Maps, they're going to lose a little bit of that functionality.
Right. Also, it's a new program. This is their first iteration.
Right.
Google Maps has been around for 7 years
I
now.
know. Isn't that sort of a huge pain in the ass?
Yeah.
You know, I just think like, look, I mean, say what you will for the reasons they parted ways, but
Right.
you gotta give credit to Google Maps. I mean, that stuff gets better every day.
Right.
You know, it just improves every freaking day, and you know, with this new implementation of the new 3D map integration, it's just it kind of started from scratch.
Yeah.
You
It
know?
does look really cool,
It looks
too.
great, and that's fine. But like you said, not exactly for the city person.
Did they mention anything about Street View either? I was trying to do some research
I
this
don't
morning,
recall that.
and I didn't see anything in there about
Yeah.
it. Like flyover seems cool, but they Tim Cook, when he was demonstrating it, he
Yeah.
didn't really zoom in enough to where you had a street level view. It was like, you know, in the air.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that's gonna work. Maybe there's a satellite function.
But it does sound like they will be offering turn-by-turn directions,
Yes.
which is something that every iPhone user has been drooling at
Right.
in envy of Android users, because Google Maps has a fantastic GPS turn-by-turn navigation
Right.
built into every phone.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of people with iPhones have sort of been like, why can't I have that?
Mhm.
You know, and that's the thing, man. A lot of this stuff that they introduced are things that Android
Yeah.
users have been enjoying for years.
Not just Android users, but jailbroken iPhone users
yeah,
too.
for years. Like the whole send a text back instead of like when someone calls, like
Right.
simple stuff like that.
Yeah.
The little things in life.
But the point is that Apple's never the first to do it. They're
Right.
most of the time the best at it, and that's fine. Like that's a corporate strategy that they don't have to be first. in everything.
Corporate, you call it corporate strategy.
Well,
I
you
call it something else.
Call it just being a
I
dick.
calling it never calling you after the first date. Is what I call it. That's what I call it.
Yeah, so I don't know. I like the turn-by-turn directions. They showed a screenshot of it. And it
Huge.
gives you exactly how much time
Huge.
you have left until you hit your destination.
been there, buddy.
Which is like the late meter.
Welcome to Android.
Right.
Yeah.
But
been
does
there.
Android do crowdsourced updates for like traffic information
Yep.
and things like that?
Yep.
Are you sure?
Positive.
All right. Maybe Apple will do like a ticket
When-
warning system.
No,
so
I
that
don't,
it'll
that'd
warn
be
you about
great. No,
radars.
when I program it in,
Mhm.
there's a little icon in the bottom left corner,
Right.
and it shows a green, a yellow, or a red, and that means, hey, you're either gonna have a smooth ride,
Right.
some traffic, or get used to sitting in traffic.
Does it
And
give
that
you alternate driving
certainly
directions
does.
if you
And-
do hit the
and-
traffic?
and,
though? I don't know why
sir,
I'm defending Apple. Yeah.
I know.
I have
freaking-
to. I'm a
you're
devil's
terrible.
advocate.
And I'll let you know.
Yeah, tell me.
I think I can't. I'm not sure that
Yeah.
it does this, but I think it will give you directions based on the current traffic.
Really?
Because I know that I've been in a situation, and I've asked for navigational directions,
Mhm.
and it's given me two different routes, depending on like traffic.
Right.
It definitely has done that.
That does sound cool. But does Android have Siri that emits a loud,
Speak.
a loud
Yeah.
police siren?
What?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I read something about an app that you can download where you can project a police siren out of Siri.
Why would you want to do
Out
that?
of your car speakers, so it sounds like you have a cop car alarm.
Are you
And
kidding
people
me?
get out of your traffic way. Yeah, I read that. But it's not going to be integrated into Siri. It's
No,
like a
oh,
third
it's
party
not?
thing. Yeah.
They're not going to give everyone with an iPhone the ability to like mess with traffic.
Yeah,
No?
it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
sounds
try
real-
this.
Sounds safe, I think.
Yeah, so no 3D Street View mode either, which is what I've been waiting for Google Maps to come out with.
Have you?
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool if you could tour a city, any city you want with Google Maps Street View, that you wouldn't have to like keep clicking those arrows to move through the city? It would just kind of give you like a driving tour
Okay.
of wherever you wanted to go,
Sure,
and you can
yeah.
like control it like a video game.
I could get on board with that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
All right.
What else did iOS introduce yesterday?
The Game Center stuff I thought was interesting. They
Yeah.
really didn't get too deep into it, but Game Center, which is what iOS is currently using, basically a way for you to organize your game progress. There's achievements,
You can challenge your
social
friends
sort
now.
of gatherings, matchmaking, and what have you. That's going to be cross-platform. So if you have a game that you're playing on your Mac and a game that's playable on iOS, they can now talk to each other for cross-platform playing,
Right.
which I think is pretty cool. I don't know how well that's going to work. I don't know how many games are available for Mac and iOS, so that'll be interesting to see how that works out. But that's not going to be out till Mountain Lion,
Okay. When does
which-
that come out?
and that's July.
Oh, okay. That's not too far
Um,
away. I like how Apple's doing a lot of the cross-platform.
Well, they need
features.
to. They need to because they, if you look back like 3-4 years ago, their sort of roadmap in terms of operating systems, it deviated, it forked, right? So then you had iOS on one side, and then you had OS 10 on the other,
Right.
and everyone thought like, oh, they'll eventually meet in the end, but it doesn't really feel like that. It feels like now they're just going to be going down this like parallel highway.
Well, yeah.
And but be able to like, you know.
But I think the
talk to each
bridge
other.
between those two operating systems is definitely
For sure.
iCloud.
For sure.
Like yesterday, I remember they announced iCloud tabs, which is something that I didn't even realize you could do. Is when you're surfing on your phone in Safari, you can pick up on another device exactly where you left off with the tabs that are still open.
Right, but you realize
Firefox has
Chrome
been doing
does that. Firefox can do that.
Right.
You know,
but across platforms, though, can you do it on a phone versus a desktop browser?
100%.
I didn't even know
I know you can do it on the.
Because I know they have bookmark
one.
sync. That's
right.
not the same
I
thing.
think you can do it on the Chrome one.
Right.
Or there's an app that'll let you do it.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, that's an awkward transition.
Right.
Like, how many tabs do you have open on your mobile browser?
Right.
You know, I think what really is very telling what they're going to do, and I forget who said this. I think it was someone we know from back in the day about the whole mobile ticket thing.
Okay.
Okay, so we're talking about things like Passbook.
Right.
So Passbook is basically like a mobile wallet, and it basically represents Apple's first commitment to digital ticket, coupon, and account consolidation.
Right.
I mean, if I'm Ticketmaster, I'm like, hey, the first shot's been fired. You know, there's nothing really that proves that things are going to get crazy, but I think this is a first sign of what's to come. For
so
sure.
You're thinking that this could probably put an end to all the high prices with Ticketmaster?
I don't know about that. I think it'll just sort of democratize the whole situation.
Right.
And we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's going to be much easier maybe for people to resell stuff, and maybe that'll drive the price down a little bit.
I think if nothing else, Passbook would be a convenient solution to what a problem we've talked about before is keeping track of your passwords.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not built for that function because you're supposed to buy tickets and whatnot, but it could be used for that.
Yeah. And then the whole eyes-free thing. The Siri inclusion in cars and stuff.
Oh, right.
All right, so they're basically calling it eyes-free, and it's going to be put into cars. They're going to have integration in certain cars, certain vehicle manufacturers have hopped on board, I think.
Yeah.
And it's sort of going to make it easier for a more integrated Siri. Instead of, you know, I hate these commercials that make it look so seamless, and it's just not. So maybe this eyes-free stuff will be a step towards that reality.
I think it's cool that that Apple's trying to take navigation and like in-console systems out of the car itself, which might drive prices down for that. I remember when I was shopping for a car in high school, I got a Honda, but for GPS it was like $600 more. Yeah. And now you can just kind of take that with you. That seems like an interesting feature.
It will be it will be interesting to see how it works. I think if you're a car manufacturer, you definitely want to have a footnote in your features that says Siri compatible. Like you want that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everyone seems to be talking about how this is going to eliminate visual distractions and provide a safer driving experience, but there's like something to be said about cognitive distractions, right? Like when I don't care if you're looking or not, the fact that you're trying to control music by talking to a device at the same time when you're supposed to be driving.
And then the inevitable frustration you will encounter when it doesn't work properly. And then you look at it and you're like, what the hell? I didn't say that.
Right.
You know, you're playing Marky Mark when I clearly said CNC Music Factory.
Right. This is a problem.
This is a problem. And then you look at the thing and you start hitting it with your hand, and then you get into a fender bender. I mean, that's the way it works.
And a broken phone, too.
And a broken phone, yeah.
What else are we interested about?
So that really wraps it up for WWDC. I think people like Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo need to take a page out of the Apple keynote playbook.
Right.
Because when all's said and done, it's overpriced, but these things are impressive, a lot of features, and this is how you get people excited about your business.
Sure.
And obviously last week at E3, I, along with a lot of other people, did not think those three guys made a splash like Apple just did in their hour-and-a-half press conference.
Right. I also read an article this morning from a mentalist. I'm not even sure what that title
what is that?
entails.
Is that like a medium?
I think it's like a psychologist that didn't go to school.
It's like a mentalist.
Isn't there a show called The Mentalist?
Yeah, but I think
probably
he's got
made that word up.
supernatural abilities.
I think Apple.
Or he could just read people.
Oh,
anyway,
right, yeah.
Go on.
So this guy's not a mind reader, but he did write a pretty interesting article. I wish I had it here, but I don't. About how Apple sort of inflates or just straight up lies about the stats in their keynote addresses to sort of just make themselves look better as a PR stunt. And other companies do this, but Apple does it more flagrantly, and I'll give you an example of that.
Please do, because I could not agree more with this.
So in one of the slides, Tim Cook was talking about the adoption rate of OS 10 versus Windows 7.
Right.
And if you do a little bit more market research, you could see that like Microsoft definitely outsells Apple in terms of their like operating system adoption.
Sure.
But the problem is that Apple doesn't talk about corporations using
Right.
operating
It's
systems.
just like the home user.
Yeah, and so they had a graph up that was showing the development over the course of the first year of sales.
Yep.
Right, and they're saying Apple's making the point that the new iOS was adopted quicker at a quicker rate in the first year than Microsoft was, and it gets updated more. More users update incrementally. The problem with that is that there's like an economic strategy here. Is that most corporations that use operating systems use Windows.
Of course.
And they do it over a very slow course of time because they need it to be tested prior to, rolling it out to the company.
Yeah.
So they're not just going to adopt the new one the first day that it comes out, right? Like
100%.
iOS users will download it immediately because they want to know those new features.
Yeah.
But when you're in a corporate atmosphere, it's a different story. So, there's like a psychological element there that they're sort of hiding.
It's not only that, maybe he brings this up, but there's a lot of crap of like when they use ambiguous words like favorite. Like,
Right.
this is their favorite. Don't give me that crap. We complained about it last time when they were saying like what people's favorite device is. It's like that's an immeasurable concept.
Right.
It doesn't work like that. I forget what the map was, but they did it again yesterday, and they said like people's favorite thing to use for whatever it was. I can't recall.
I wish I could bring it up, but it was a customer satisfaction.
Yeah, and they
graph.
pulled
That was
this again.
ridiculous.
And they pull this stuff,
Right.
and it really is infuriating about when they do that.
Yeah, if this was any other website, you would ask for citation.
Yeah,
Right?
it'd
Like
be
you would
like-
ask for references. Like what study did you
Right.
pull?
There's always an asterisk that leads to something at the bottom that says like pulled from Nielsen or ComScore
Right.
or something like this. There's nothing.
Yeah.
This is just like a fairy tale, Apple graph.
Not
I
only
don't
that, like, I mean, if you're not going to provide your sources, at least talk about the sample size, right? Like, they just had this really nebulous graph that said that Apple had like 75%
Totally nebulous.
customers satisfaction.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're comparing their own users to another websites or what, but at least provide the sample size.
For
They could have
sure.
asked 2 people and built this graph.
Yeah, so we're not going to be all positive about WWDC. Before we hit the break, I want to talk about Scott Stein has his disappointments from WWDC. Let's go through these real quick.
Yeah.
First bummer was that there was no consolidation of the MacBook line, right? So all they did was basically they didn't make it one thing. Like, you know what I mean? You sort of got that feeling when the iPad 3 turned out to just be the new iPad. You thought like, all right, well, maybe they're going to follow suit across the board. No, they introduced a new laptop, and the Pros and the Airs still exist. So now you have 3 different laptops. And it seemed like they were going towards maybe a 1 or 2 platform. There's no 4G on the new MacBook. That's a bummer. A lot of people wanted that, clamoring for it. There's no new iMacs or Mac Minis.
Right.
I can live with that. No Apple TV.
Okay, so I understand that there's a lot of disappointments that people were expecting yesterday, but is it Apple's fault that they didn't come out with it?
No.
Or is it the
It's just a
public's
disappointment.
fault
It's just a
for
disappointment.
speculating so
Yeah,
much
this
prior
is
to
not-
the keynote?
This isn't really a knock on Apple.
Right.
This is just what people were upset with.
Like
So
it would be different if Apple sort of teased the television that we don't
Right.
even know if it's going to come out or
Right,
not.
right.
So
It's like when people are upset that there was no one more thing. It's like, really? Are you
Right.
really upset that the conference didn't have a finale?
yeah.
It's get a life.
The fact that Siri came to the iPad was one of the big things that people wanted.
For sure, and that
they
happened.
delivered that.
No new iPhone. We knew that was probably going to be the case.
Sure.
No Apple TV. In addition to the HD TV, there's no new TV with the little black box.
Right.
No iPad Mini. I guess people were clamoring for a 7 to 8 inch iPad. And finally, no update or overhaul of iTunes, which
Right.
is quickly becoming the most resource demanding, insane application ever. They got to do like an iTunes Lite or
Yeah.
something like that, because it's getting a little crazy. We got to take a break. When we come back, more chat. We have a video voicemail we want to share,
Yeah.
and some questions from you guys that we'll get to. More 404 right after this. Stick around.
Here is the dome, back with the bass. The jam is live in effect, and I don't waste time. On the mic with a dope rhyme, jump to the rhythm, jump to the rhythm, jump. And I'm here to combine beats and lyrics to make you shake your pants, take a chance. Come on and dance, guys. Grab a girl, don't wait, make a twirl. It's your world, and I'm just a squirrel, trying to get a nut to move your butt to the dance floor. So yo, what's up? Hands in the air, come on, say yeah. Everybody over here, everybody over there. The crowd is live, and I will do this groove. Party people in the house, move. Let me ride. Groove. Work me all night. Come on, let's play, baby. Let the music take control. Let the rhythm move you. Let the music take control. Let the rhythm move you.
We're back.
Oh, I thought you were gonna play.
Yeah.
Oh.
You could play it. Do you have the It's called a rejoin fade.
Oh.
Ooh.
There we go.
Welcome back.
From CNC Music Factory to that.
That was perfect, man. See, this is why we needed a producer all these years.
Definitely.
I'm psyched. Big thanks to Ariel and Richard for being in here with us.
Yeah.
Love you guys, really do. And the chat room and everyone who emails in. There was a guy who was talking about Richard the
Oh,
other
I
day.
forwarded it
Oh,
to
yeah.
him.
Did you get that?
He's gonna get a big
Did that
head.
make you blush?
It did.
Yeah?
It made me teary-eyed a little bit.
Did you cry over
No.
that? Aw.
The guy was talking about your beautifully baritone
Yes.
voice.
He loves your voice, dude.
Thank you, by the way,
Oh.
Garrett.
Yeah, okay. Him by name. He addresses him by name. I love it. I love it. I love it. So we have a few viewer emails that we want to get to. We appreciate everyone chiming in on the show. This one comes from Jason Yu. You know this guy?
No, I don't know him.
I'm just, it's like the Smith.
That was a low blow,
No,
man.
it wasn't. He's got your exact last name.
Yeah, but you're right. You is like the Jones or the Smith or Brown, whatever white last name you want to
Today
use.
I learned that you is
Yeah, it's
is
like
common.
Chen or Lee.
I don't know these.
Just read the email.
Hey, 404, Chico from Jason here. Got a quick question for Jeff. What comic reader app do you use on your Nexus? I'm a huge Garfield fan, but the only dedicated app for it sucks. Really? This is...
Do you need an app to read Garfield, though? I mean, like...
Well, look, I can't help you on that front because I don't use one on my Galaxy Nexus.
Yeah.
But what I did really want to share with everybody is an app that I've been using on my iPad. It's my favorite comic book reader app ever, and it's called Comic Zeal.
Yeah.
So here it is. Check it out. Here's what it looks like. And it's super simple.
Now, that reads CBRs.
Yeah, and I got like a copy of the New Yorker here, which is interesting.
Right, you bought a copy of the New Yorker.
Well, you can download them and pop them in. So here's how it works.
No way you're going to read that New Yorker.
No, so it's really interesting because it gives you the ability to like file all your comic books.
Uh-huh.
And so let's say like you pop in and you can put all your Walking Dead ones in one thing.
Very cool.
And then you read it and you're living the dream. And
Now,
all
does that take you from panel to panel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a really good app. Super easy, and it lets you like organize stuff. You can take your comics and like drag them into a folder, and then sort of organize them in any which way you want.
Mhm.
I've never really used one that's as sort of intuitive as this. It's really cool. What are you
I
smiling
was
at?
just laughing about Garfield.
Oh, you think it's interesting. I didn't know
Just a
there's a
funny
lot of like
comment.
Garfield.
Yeah, I didn't know,
people
like,
who are still
diehard.
super psyched on Garfield.
Right.
But hey,
That's cool.
whatever you're into,
Yeah.
we don't judge.
Let it ride. Our next email. Oh, well, I don't know if I should read this one.
Oh no, it's okay.
I didn't bring my box of tissues.
Oh,
for you.
it's fine.
I'll skip over this one. Who wrote this one? Manuel writes in. He says, "First, I have 3 things to say. First, I'm sorry about the Devils losing the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, that's fine. That's okay.
Second, I love the Minority Report last week. You should consider doing this more. It's a really entertaining week. Nice job, Justin, Richard, and Ariel, and that other guy, Joey. Third, I listened and watched CNET's coverage of WWDC. Although the updates did seem cool, I felt cheated because of the Mac. I'm not an iPhone fan, but an Android user, and loved it too. I was hoping for the beautiful and easy-to-use experience that came with working on a new Mac right out of the box. Instead, there's a lot of overpriced laptops that, if I were to purchase one, I wouldn't be able to even use out of the box because you have to get an optical drive, right? Like the new one doesn't have that. As well as install your Microsoft Office suites. That's nothing new. That never came with Apple laptops. No,
Sure.
But anyway, he said he would also have to buy a dongle to connect his Ethernet through the Thunderbolt.
There's a lot of hidden costs. Yeah.
And then you also have to buy the new power adapter, right? Like new Mac.
You don't
power
have to.
if you want to operate with like an older screen.
Oh, okay.
And that's like $10 right there. There are a lot of hidden costs. He's been a big avid Mac user for more than a decade. But he made the transition from zip and jazz disks to flash drives, and now he has to do it again. He doesn't like the new Mac stand, which is change or be left behind.
Yeah, they that's their MO, man.
Mhm.
I mean, if you're trying to stick around with 4-year-old technology, you're gonna get left out of the party. That's sort of how it's always been with them.
Yeah, and we were talking about this before. It's getting harder and harder to get an iPad and use an Android handset, like what you're doing right now with all the cross-platform integration.
I seem to be
don't know.
doing it just fine.
Really?
Yeah.
You have no desire to get into the get an iPhone now? There's so much
No,
stuff you can do?
I've never not wanted an iPhone more than my entire life.
Really?
Yeah, I don't need one. Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal
Yeah.
because I say this, but who knows? I don't think they'll ever lock you out.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't think there'll ever be a time where you can't use Google Contacts or Gmail with your iPhone, right?
I don't know. It may be happening soon. This rivalry is getting intense.
I don't know. I can't see that ever happening.
Yeah.
You know, that's completely alienating a huge chunk of people.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Let's get to a video voicemail because we haven't done this in a while.
Yeah, let's do it.
And I want to hear from Marlon for nothing else besides the fact that he's very complimentary
Oh, cool.
to the 3 of
We
us from
love
last
that.
week.
So that doesn't involve me,
So
but
give
that's
as
fine.
many
That's fine.
compliments as possible. Oh, not to you. I'm talking about the Minority Report.
Oh,
here.
sure, yeah, because I'm not a minority.
Let's hear what he has to say.
What's going on? Yeah.
Hello guys, this is Arkansas from Marlin, and I just wanted to make a short video. I pretended to do it last week, but I was so busy and I couldn't. I just wanted to congratulate Justin on last week's episode. The Minority Report was great. Richard was great. Ariel was great, and that little guy was great also. Which his name. But anyways, just wanted to say congratulations to Justin. He handled the show pretty good. And you guys might ask, why am I wearing sunglasses? Well, Jeff is back, and all the light was the glare, so I had to use my glasses. Also, Jeff, if you would like some vitamin D, I guess. So
Yes, props.
get hold of me. I'd send some. And that's it. Oh, and I have a special guest that would like to say something. Bye for a
Aw.
See you guys.
That was really cute.
That's awesome.
It's
cool.
true. I'm the palest MRFer on the planet.
Yeah, you are.
People have to adjust their TV sets whenever.
That's true.
It's a sad thing, but no, you guys did a great job last
Yes.
week. You
And
really did.
Big thanks to Joey.
Yeah,
the name
Joey
that you
helped
forgot.
out.
Joey helped
everyone
out big
everyone did
time.
a great job. The Minority Report was alive and kicking.
Yes.
Yeah, very good.
Fun.
We're gonna have to say goodbye for today, ladies and gentlemen.
We don't have audio voicemails?
We do not today, no. But
Okay.
keep sending those in because I really want to hear from people. I do.
Okay.
I mean, we had some. They're just, you gotta make it worth playing.
Right, yeah, okay. We got a
Okay.
big bunch of them tomorrow.
We do, hopefully. 866-404-CNET, that's the number. Or you can email us, the404@cnet.com. Thanks again to people who wrote in and to our buddy for his video voicemail and his adorable daughter is very, very cute.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do it for us. We'll be back tomorrow. Is Jill on tomorrow?
She's supposed to be. She's not traveling, is she?
I don't know.
We'll check it.
Maybe Jill tomorrow.
Maybe.
It's always a surprise on 404. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm Jeff Bagalar.
And I'm Justin Yu.
It's the 404 High Tech Lowbrow. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.